Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Got some egos to the face, baby I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on that tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.
Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Formula Icons Cup for Race 1 at Laguna Seca. Let's take a look at the track then. Laguna Seca, 2.24 miles in length, 11 corners on the tyre damage. Traffic light indicator is yellow on damage. Okay, well, something new for this season. Let's take a look at the track, shall we? So Laguna Seca, heading down into turn 1, the Andretti hairpin. Some people call it turn 2, but I'm calling it turn 1. It's a double apex corner. Take the latex and get on that power nice and early. Then we're heading up to turn 2, Cooper's 1 as I'm calling it. Avoid the sausage on the way in and the curb on the way out, and that's why it's Cooper's, because of the big tyre. Turn 3, Cooper's 2, a lovely fast corner which heads onto a little straight just before we get to turn 4, which is Mother's. Nice fast entry. Be careful on the exit though, because you don't want to dip a wheel out wide. A little uphill straight, and then we're into turn 5, the Glory Curve. Try and avoid the sausage if you can, and then we're up the Rahal straight towards the most iconic corner on this track. Turn 6, Corkscrew, into turn 7 at the Corkscrew, down the hill into turn 8 at the Corkscrew. Now we've got a nice little run through turn 9 into Rainy Curve. Again, be careful of that sausage, don't run wide. And then turn 10, Dry Curve, another sausage to avoid, and then it's just the final run down the little straight into turn 11 and a tricky little hairpin. Very easy to get it wrong there, or very good to attempt an overtake, but you've got to be careful doing it. So that's the Laguna Seca circuit, and that's one of the cars that's on the grid this season. So thank you to Demon R for providing that lap for us. Before we head over to have a look at the action, information about this championship, the power and weight of the car, the tyres that will be used, the tyre wear, fuel settings, traction control being banned, and the event settings on the right hand side. The tracks are on the screen as we see them, and as we know, round 1 is going to be from Laguna Seca. So without further ado, should we take a look at what the result of qualifying was? So for the Formula Icons Cup, qualifying 1 from Laguna Seca. On pole position we've got Steve F1 with a 1:14.134. In second place is Demon R, nearly half a second behind. And in third, we've got DGT League SGP sporting the Senna livery. Mitch is in fourth place, very close to third. And then we've got Jason in 5th place, sporting his own livery, but still a nice one it is. Dave the Harp in the Mansell, just under a second off the lead, but with that livery anything can happen. Twilight, he's running the lick in. Nicky Lauder, he's in 7th, and we've got Conrad with his own bespoke livery in 8th place. In 9th it's Art Pal 16 in one of the most famous Lotus cars, and then Fluffy Planet, who's in the other most famous Lotus car in 10th place. In 11th we've got Formula Gary, where the Magician started in the Leighton House livery, and then we've got Jimmy in 12th place. I feel a bit thirsty and I don't know why. 13th is Rich Blues, sporting a lovely colour scheme there, and then we've got Hay with his own livery in 14th. In 15th place it's Bunsell with the livery homage to the big man. I like that livery. And in 16th we have a driver away because Ray was unable to race. So here we go. Let's hand over to the commentators. So here we go then. It's time for the thick Formula Icons Cup Joining me on commentary, it's Raymond. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing very well. How's yourself?
I'm great as the lights go out and away they go. And it looks like a fantastic start from Demon R and from Mitch in second place. Steve F1's going off the track already. Bit early for that in the championship, isn't it? SGP attacking him, no doubt, into turn 2. Mitch fending off Jason as we watch the iconic looking liveries going around an iconic corner.
Yep. And we see...
Wow, sense that excitement.
As you see, Demon R taking first place from second on the grid.
Yep, that he has. Although I think he's had a bit of a mare of a corner through Coopers too. Steve F1 retakes the lead. And Demon R having a look on the inside through Mothers. Is he retaking the lead off him? I'm not so sure. SGP closing in as well. No, Demon R tucks in behind Steve F1. Oh, and SGP stuck it into the wall. He's
sorry.
I was just going to say, not good, but
What?
he's not spun.
No, he kept it going.
Aye, that he did. Okay, so Steve F1 has managed to retake the lead. He's got a bit of a gap now to Demon R in second. Twilight is in third. Twilight doesn't like this car. He hates this track, but he's in third. Sorry.
I smell shite.
Well, sorry, I'm getting a message louder. Twilight don't like this track. He also don't like this car.
Jesus. You're going to blow everybody's ears off.
Sorry, louder. Conrad, having a look on the inside of Jason. Some will get that. We're not seeing Twilight's livery properly yet.
I know what you're getting at.
Well, it's for those that don't know. See, you don't know what you don't know, but you don't know that you don't know
Conrad was
what
attacking, now he's defending.
Oh, that he is. He's like Man United. He thinks he's going to attack, but no, he's defending. He's probably going to end up off at some point as well. That's more about Man United. Oh, Mitch! He's on the sausage! He's on the gravel! Can he keep it facing the right direction? I think he has just.
You can see it in the back cam. He's just kept it.
Ooh, who was that? Gary. Gary tagging the back of Fluffy. It may take us a bit of while just to be able to reel off who is who, because obviously we haven't really got the names. I mean, Jason's got his name on the car, but to be honest, with this kind of championship, the drivers have been allowed to not have their name on their car if they are in an iconic livery like that. Typical.
SGP nearly Where the...
You're trying to work.
Punted something.
He did, right up the road. He hit him so hard the fuck. Excuse my language. They've buggered off up the road. But yeah, I don't even know who it was he attacked. Oh, Conrad! Oh, I said United might be off soon. Oh, he's managed to keep going though. Just call him Maguire as they make their way towards Mothers. So Mitch is oh, he's on another sausage. He's in the gravel again. God, don't spin it! Oh, Fluffy nearly got taken out. That's unfortunate for Mitch. It is a feature of this track, though, isn't it, Ray? If you get on the sausages or dip a wheel there like Fluffy, oh no, he's going for a sausage. He's going for the sausage. Oh no, he's managed to slot in quite nicely. He's done well there, actually. Oh, side by side.
Oh, Gary gave him my helping hand there.
Maybe, or is it a helping front wing? I've got to say, I do love the look of these liveries. Oh, SGP! Who got a very slow through the corkscrew. Fluffy's on a charge round the outside. What a move!
How long until Fluffy fluffs it?
Oh, they're there!
There we go. SGP's in the pits.
Yes, he is. I think SGP's probably thinking, you know what, let's get some fresh tyres, because we have got the tyre wear indicator on again today. I haven't looked at it yet, but you'll notice a few drivers have already got wear, and we're only 3 laps into this race. The tyres will degrade quite a bit around here, and if you have offs, they're going to degrade even more. So, for example, as Gary attacking Fluffy, side by side they go. Up the inside comes Jimmy. Oh, he's like a fizzy drink, spraying all over the place. I think he may have just gone off though as we have a quick look at the leaders. See what these two have pulled out a bit of a gap as Demon R runs a little bit wide. Oh, sideways. You lucky little bugger.
See, when you look at the cars from behind, it looks as if there's flat spots on the tyres.
Well, yeah, true, there may be. I tell you what though, that's just made me think, because I mean, Demon R's had a bit of an off there. He's somehow got away with it, no harm, no foul, you think. But actually, that was something brilliant, but it is going to damage the tyres a bit. Compare that to Mitch's off. The first one he had will have damaged the tyres a little bit because they got dirty. The second one where he was spinning kills tyres.
Yeah, it's going to kill his tyres.
Yeah, it makes me think though, like, something for people to think about. And you could think about it as well, Ray, as we're having a look at Jason, and on the pack cam we've got Gary with Hay and Artpal battling. Something that is really amazing, but also has a bad side. So, well, I was trying to think of something. Okay, you love beer, but hangovers are awful.
Yeah, just drink more, you won't get a hangover.
Yeah. So I'll give you a bit of time to think about something that's really good, but also really bad. You don't have to answer straight away. You can ponder that one for a little while. Artpal, the wife. oh, Twilight! He heard you. Yeah, he heard you. Oh, I'm so sad. Clip him up. So I'm not gonna. Somebody is gonna clip this bit and send it to Kirsty. Something that's amazing but really bad. The wife.
Oh, was that coming back on track?
Oh, geez,
Pal.
I think it was. Yeah. I think these drivers are hearing your comment. You know that's why they keep going off. Jesus. I think I think that's the funniest thing you've ever said. He's probably going to end up in a divorce, but who's that? Artpal got Rich behind him, Rich in the Benetton style livery. What does that say on Hayes' car? If in doubt, flat out. Oh, you're saying
Seca.
it does, but it also says if in doubt, flat out. Okay, Twilight, we see him now. Got a number 1 on his car, a bit controversial, but he is a champion. So I think I can let it fly. Also, he is, I was going to say wearing the Niki Lauda livery. He's not quite wearing it, is he? But then actually, knowing Twilight, he probably has got Lauda pants.
But when he farts?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's
there it goes.
Oh, lucky. Interestingly, that was the corner he went off on the last lap. Next lap around, happens again. So, it's unfortunate. Oh, by Rich. Is he going to hit the wall? He's survived. Holy cow. I don't know if he's going to survive the next bit, though. Where is he?
Can't see him.
He's not there. Oh, there he is. Still going. Hey, on the back of Fluffy now. So, yeah, the white bit of writing just there on the engine cover says, if in doubt, flat out. Either that or it says, if in doubt, knock one out.
Oh, Jesus.
You'll be doing that when Kirsty hears this audio. SGP into the pits again. Maybe he's thinking, you know what, too busy, too frantic at the back here. And to be fair, if you're at the back and you've got the pace of SGP, pitting and catching back up may not be a bad idea. As Steve F1 still leading the races on the pack cam, Artpal and Fluffy, and Mitch battling down into turn 1.
Yeah, was that Mitch going very deep?
It was,
outside there.
Yep. Interestingly, how far are we into this race? 8 minutes. Okay, tyres. We've talked tyres. We could add dip.
Conrods. Look at them.
Well, he's pushing them quite a bit, isn't he? Oh, Dave the Arp. His tyres aren't going to be liking that very much. His front right taking a bit of punishment. The fronts do get a bit more here.
Flat spot.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Wow. It's amazing what you can see when you're sober. Oh, Demon R's close enough to Steve F1. He's got a run on him here. But also on the pack cam, Artpal making moves on Formula Gary into the corkscrew. Demon R closing in on Steve F1. This could be a change of lead for the race. Around the outside, he's going to go. Is he going to go for the switchback? Tucking it in. No, he's not.
F1's got it covered on defence.
That he has. I mean, I don't think Demon R is going to want to overtake here. It could be done, but he's having a look. No, you see, he doesn't want to overtake here. As Artpal's managed to break away from that battle on the pack cam. Looking at these guys' tyre wear as well, I didn't see what Steve F1's was like. Demon R's isn't too bad, but to be fair, he seems the quicker of the two at the moment, being able to sort of hang on to the back at Steve F1, and that being after he had his slightly sideways moment earlier on. Has he got to run up the corkscrew? No.
He seems a wee bit far back, we never got the drive out of Glory curve.
Yeah, that is true. And Steve F1 looking a bit quick through rainy down into dry curve. I mean, it'd be interesting. We may find that drivers are faster in different sections of the track. Let's see if Steve F1 is going to pull away down the main straight. Jason currently sitting in third on the pack. Only Demon R's close again.
Yeah, Demon R's getting in there.
This should be
going to go for it. Oh, Steve F1's covering the inside. Is Demon R going to go round the outside or do a switchback?
He's not pushing it, is he? He's not sort of trying to force it round the outside. Maybe going a little bit cautious here. Conrad into the pits, by the way, with 10 minutes into this race. That would suggest potentially a 3-stop strategy for him. 2 to 3 stops, I think, is going to be the norm for most people around this particular track, given the amount of tyre wear. I mean, looking at Steve F1's front right tyre, a bit more worn than Demon R's. Demon R closing in again. So I think if you were 2-stopping, probably somewhere around 13 minutes gone is a decent-ish time. Oh, Steve F1, I thought he was running a little bit wide there, but he's okay. Opens up the gap a little bit up to the corkscrew. And interestingly though, Rams, looking at the track map, there is a bit of a gap from Jason to 4th. I'm wondering whether the leaders may be... Oh, Conrad! Oh no! On the back cam, around he goes. He's just come out of the pits as well. That's not one way to treat your fresh tyres. I mean, that's definitely a good thing that's gone bad. Steve F1's ran a bit wide. Jason into the pits. This should be an easy move for Demon R. What I say?
No, he's not. He's not. It's as if he's just waiting for a mistake to happen. He's not really forcing the overtake.
You know what it might be. Conrad was in 4th. Conrad pitted. Jason was in 3rd, he's pitted. Dave Harp's now pitted. I'm wondering if Demon R is... Well, I'm wondering if Demon R is thinking, I don't want to overtake, because if he overtakes, he could get undercut.
Yeah.
Sorry, Twilight and Mitch battling on the pack cam. Mitch makes the move, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, I think Demon R's had a couple of opportunities where I would have expected him to go past. So maybe he's playing a bit of a tactical game here, especially when, in practice, Steve F1 was trying to work on a 1-stop strategy, but Demon R doing this is going to push Steve F1's tyres. Yes, I thought Steve was going for the pits, but that's not even the corner where the pit lane is. Here's the pit lane. Yeah, there we go.
That's
Folder,
man.
Yeah, see, that's, I think, if Demon R may have been thinking, if he overtakes Steve F1, when he pits, Steve F1 will follow him in. Whereas if he follows Steve F1, he's got the opportunity of doing an undercut, or if Steve pits, he'll follow him in. So I think it may have been a bit of tactics there as Steve F1 pulls into his pit box. Jason coming up to the final corner, Mitch into the pits.
Yeah, I'm going to get Mitch and Dave the Harp mixed up a wee bit in the front view.
There we are. I'll tell you what, look how close it is.
Yeah, Demon R's pushing him.
He's sniffing his exhaust pipe. Well, considering that definitely looked a bit tactical heading sort of into the pits. So, what does Demon R do now? Does he push now to try and overtake, or does he sit there and apply the pressure? Because we've mentioned it before, you don't have to overtake to make moves. You can just apply the pressure.
Under pressure.
Arpal being passed by SGP on the pack cam. What I will say though is, when you're this close to another car, as Arpal will find out as well, it's very easy to not be able to see the corner fully and hit one of these sausages, and that is the last thing you want to do as SGP runs wide.
Goes wide. Is that letting Arpal come down the inside into corkscrew? Oh, didn't really touch him.
That was close. Oh, Arpal's going to get him on the exit. Oh no, he's not. He's
not. He's going to tag the back of him.
Oh dear.
Well, let's go for it again. Down the inside of rainy curve. So
yep.
He's going to be on the outside of dry.
That he is. Oh, and on the main screen.
Oh, he's going. He's on the way into pits.
On the main screen, sorry. Connor and Gary were battling with Dave the Op right behind them on the pack cam. We've got Jimmy and Rich Blues as well. So Connor and Gary side by side as
Oh, Dave the Harp's got the slipstream. Is he going to get in there? He's inside Gary. Is he going to hold it? Yep.
Mate manages to slot up the inside there. I wasn't really looking. I was watching the pack cam. It looked like Fluffy was going flying. Oh, Mitch!
Who's that? Mitch. Mitch is coming through.
Gary might run wide here. I hope he hasn't. I think they're all still fake now. They're all right. They're facing the right direction. Hay and Fluffy battling on the pack cam. Fluffy runs a little bit wide. What a race we're having so far.
Yeah, now Mitch, Dave the Harp, and Conrad's going to be in a close battle. Well, Gary's still there. Gary's holding on at the back. Dave the Harp, he's got fresh tyres on. He's looking he looks like he's pushing it.
He definitely
Car's
is.
sliding.
He's definitely pushing it as much as the tyres will allow. Okay, let's just sort of having a bit of a look around. Mitch is going quite quick. Mitch has recently pitted as well, I think. So Dave and Mitch on fairly fresh tyres. Conrad just ran a little bit deep on the way into the final corner. That's going to compromise him. He's going to come under pressure as we see Rich Blues on the main. I must admit, I do like that old Benetton livery. It does look pretty cool. Demon R still trying to catch up to the back of Steve F1. Rich got an opportunity here on Art Pound. He's going to have a look anyway. Oh, what was that?
What?
Whoa, Rich into the wall. What on? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Somebody's spinning as well.
I tell you what, I think whatever that was, I think we may have to have a look at that on the old G spot, which is not going to be part of the race video, by the way.
As we see Twilight and SGP having a wee battle here coming up.
Sorry, louder. Sorry, louder.
That's not louder, that's Twilight. Louder's in a completely different league.
I'm not ignoring you, I'm just looking at the sexy blonde lady that delivers parcels around here, going to the next door neighbours, not mine, so my parcel is not arriving yet. I am expecting a parcel, by the way, folks, so if I disappear suddenly going, it means someone's at the door.
We see, who's that? Conrad?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
In the back of Twilight.
He's going to try and make a move around the outside. He's going to give it a go. It can be done, but to be honest, you're better off going for the swore. He's gone deep on the brakes. I was going to say you're better off going switchback, but he's just gone dive bomb around the outside.
Yeah, man, you look at the gap he got as well.
Yeah, I think his seat was getting chunks bitten out of it for a moment there. I am hearing as well that, whatever it was that happened to Rich is going to be seen on the G spot. So Mitch now battling with Dave the Harp, trying to go round the outside. Is he going to be able to hold it onto the track?
Yep.
Just Dave doesn't want to be on the inside here, really, and knows it. He tucks in. You don't want to be on the inside there. Mitch, where's Mitch gone? Bye, Mitch!
Oh, Dave the Harp. Oh, that was. Oh, I think Twilight got a bit of fright there.
It might have done. I mean, maybe Twilight had a little bit of a moment as well. Maybe that's what sort of caught Mitch out. I think Mitch caught the sausage, though. It's so easily done as the pack cam looks like we're having a ride on board with race leader Steve F1. And interestingly, Steve F1 has pulled away from Demon R at the moment.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't see him in the mirrors.
No, you know what, I am hearing that Demon R was giving his commentary on what was happening to Rich. So, Mitch on Twilight down into turn 1. Is Mitch going to be able to get this done? Watch out for the black car coming in. Arp out in the Lotus. Lovely looking lovers. And scarily enough, right, the Job Player Special livery, we used to have Scalextric cars. Actually, I've got
Look at that.
I've actually got the Scalextric car on my shelf, which Art Pal gave to me.
Look at Twilight's tyres.
Oh my goodness me!
Jack, you should.
You know what he's doing? He's trying to make his tyre wear match his livery.
Dave the Harp. Oh, he's sitting in a wee wiggle. Gotta be careful.
We're gonna just I think he just tagged the back and got it. Whoa, Mitch, careful! Oh, and there comes Art now. Now. What a move!
What a move!
3 in 2 corners. Oh. He's going to think it's 4 birthdays all come at once, I think. So, yeah, Conrad into the pits.
Dave the Harper to the pits as well.
Yep. Well, Conrad went into the pits about 10 minutes, so about on schedule for Conrad at the moment. But to be honest, if you're quick and do 3-stop, it's not a bad thing, really. The main thing around here is just keep on the road. I know I've only just said that, we're 20 minutes into the race, but we're looking at Mitch and his tyre wear. So his tyre wear isn't looking too bad. I think he may have pitted again recently, though. I can't remember. There's so much going on. Just wondering, though, if you've thought of anything else. Demon R closing back in on Steve F1, which is interesting, because that would suggest that I think he dropped back to about 2.5-3 seconds. If he's able to close that gap in, it would suggest that Demon R's got some pace around this track. Would also suggest that he may definitely have been teasing with Steve F1 towards the end of that first round of pit stops. But yeah, just want to ask you, Ray, whether you've thought about anything else that is really good but also really bad.
No.
Well, I've got one for you.
Too busy here.
I've got one for you, right? I live next door to an absolutely beautiful woman who gets undressed and naked by the bedroom window. Bad thing is, I live next door to my sister.
Oh, for God's sake.
No, I haven't got a sister, by the way.
You sick
It's a
person.
joke. Oh dear. Yeah, Demon R is closing in on the back of Steve F1. As Conrad with his fresh tyres. Hopefully, Conrad do not spin these tyres after just coming out of the pits. Give him a bit of a chance and you'll be okay.
To go deep into turn 1, but as he's getting to turn 1, he's on over the white line onto the dirty part of the track. I'd say it's a sausage and he keeps it going, so he's ahead of Hay now.
Yeah, managed to get the
Hey
move
now.
done. Hey now, hey gone, hey gone.
Dave the Harp on Hay now.
Yep, Dave with his fresh tyres as well. So I think Connor and Dave pitted at the same time, so they're now closing in on Formula Gary. Dave has managed to...
Where's Hay gone?
Oh, Conrad! I thought he was running wide there. It's an interesting one at Glories, because if you get on the sausage, you're going off. If you're wide of the apex, you could be going way wide. Mitch into the pits. His tyres were looking okay. Oh, Conrad making a move through Rainey's. I think Gary's tyres may be on the way out. SGP also into the pits.
Yep. Gary into the pits.
Yeah. Dave the Harp's got nice fresh rubber on. Don't make the joke, Dave. I was going to. I will not make a rude comment about having a rubber on. Okay, so what have we got there? Steve F1 still leading the way. Demon R still harassing him. In third place is Jason. We've not really seen anything of him. He's just happily tootling around the track, and I think somebody has just come out of the pits behind the leaders. I think Gary may be in that position. I think Gary may be a lap down now. Could be wrong, could be somebody else. We've got Conrad in 4th, doing well at the moment. Dave Harp in 5th, done multiple pit stops, but in a good position. Fluffy in 6th, not bad, given that he's not had a lot of practice, well, no practice really. SGP in 7th, been a tough race for him so far, and he's got Mitch behind him, both of them on fresh tyres. I don't think they're getting to the end, though, as Mitch nearly. He turned in, realised he was going for the sausage, turned out, ooh.
Jesus.
Is
Mitch going to get it? Oh no, there's no more contact.
He's trying. I mean, this is an interesting situation. I mean, Mitch is quick. We know Mitch is quick. Oh, look how close Demon R is to the back of Steve F1.
Oh,
hey!
Moment.
Bye, Hay. Maybe that's where Hay went, to the pits. So it may have been Hay that came out of the pits behind these two, and it's Rich Blues as well was there. So they are currently a lap down. I think Hayes will come out of the pits, unfortunately, with that spin. That hurt his tyres a little bit. Rich in an interesting situation now, though, where Rich is going to have the fastest, or well, apart from Hay, the fastest car on the track, but he's got the race leaders ahead of it. Oh, they're in the pits. Cough, 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 cough. Right.
Jason's in the pits, so Fluffy going to be leading the race.
No chance.
Remember the last time he was leading the race?
He don't want to remember the last time. Well, think about it. Previous pit stop, the leaders were able to pit and come out ahead.
There's two people in between. Conrad would be leading. Sorry, I didn't realise.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would apologise for you, Fluffy. Funny. And I also think that they're going to come out of the pits way in the lead. They're out of the pit lane now on the pack cam. It is close. I think that is the leader's final pit stop. So it is a battle between them to the end of the race. David Hart having a look at making a move on Conrad. Down the main straight they go towards Andretti's hairpin. Oh, Conrad! Whoa! I don't know if you didn't know. I think he may have just let Dave through on the way in. Nice little switch back from Conrad there. I have a feeling he may not have realised that Dave was next to him at that point. But, I mean, for the camera angle we had, it did look like he turned in.
I think because he was that far over to the white line, he couldn't see him in his mirrors or anything.
Maybe he could have been in the blind spot. It is possible as they make their way up to Glories. Are they going to get through there safely? Looks like it. Fluffy wobbling around behind SGP. Mitch has got ahead of... No, he hasn't. Mitch is behind SGP. Sorry, it was Twilight that's behind Mitch. Oh, Mitch trying to make the move now up into the corkscrew, but SGP's got the inside that'll become the outside. Mitch gets through. Lovely move. SGP may have a look back.
Twilight going to go round the outside? No, he tucks him behind.
I heard he likes tucking it.
Yeah, well, we know what bars he goes to.
Oh, that is true. That is true. I tell you what, Twilight's a good run out of the final corner there. SGP is either going to have to defend or try and really capitalise on the slipstream, but he hasn't got it. Is Twilight going to go for it? No. I think SGP getting close, going late on the brakes. I think Twilight's just playing a bit of a cautious game here because we know he doesn't like this track. And he's struggled a bit with this car around this track. So I think for him, he just wants to keep it on the road. Oh dear. What's the chances of that? I did not know that was going to happen. Sorry, Twilight.
You know, I thought he was going to collect Fluffy in the way, but he never. You see SGP trying to catch back up on Mitch.
There he is, on the back.
Tyres are pretty decent. It's not long pitted, aren't they? Not?
They are.
Oh, I've seen some gravel coming off from Mitch there.
Probably just falling out of his side pods from earlier. Pat Cam doing an onboard lap with Demon R at the moment. So still behind Steve F1.
Hey. Yeah, just see him hit the sausage a wee bit there.
That he did. Conrad coming under a bit of pressure now from Mitch and SGP, and Fluffy is there as well. I know you mentioned about Conrad. Oh, Mitch!
He's gone.
Is he going to get it stopped? Yes, he is. I was going to say, I know we've seen Conrad go a bit deep at turn 1. It may be that he's just sort of breaking a touch late. He's defending now into Cooper's 1, which is turn 2, and then heading into Cooper's 2, which is turn 3. SGP was a little bit on the gravel there, nearly got sideways. He's a little bit on the gravel again. He survives though.
Yeah, he's going to have to defend from Fluffy and Twilight once he comes off that gravel. Oh, Twilight! Ooh. Not Twilight, Fluffy on the gravel. Yep. Twilight was ready.
I tell you what, I'm sort of having an eye at Twilight's going for the move. I was like, oh, Conrad!
This is where the tea come from.
And here comes formerly Gary Capitalite. Oh no, Conrad, careful! That's one of the difficulties I was trying to say earlier. When you have an off, you can so easily have another one, and the tyres can be dirty for a couple of laps. Got to be so careful. On the pack cam, Demon R got really close to the back of Steve F1 as well. So keep an eye on that, folks.
Conrad in the pits, and Artpal in the pits.
Yeah.
So we see Twilight on the back of formerly Gary here.
Right, there he is.
He's not keeping it tucked in as long as possible, but as soon as you pull out, you're not getting that speed advantage. He's trying to throw it down the inside. Gary's a wee bit later on the brakes.
Yep, I'll just try not to burst out laughing.
Tucked in.
Well, when you pull out, it slows down a bit. Usually it stops. Twilight, what a move! That came out of nowhere. I forgot what I was kind of saying, but anyway. Mitch, nearly. I thought he was catching the sausage at Glory's. You've not asked me yet what it's called. But anyway. Mitch heading now into the corkscrew, closing in on Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp taking a bit of corner, bit of gravel around the outside.
Around the outside.
Nice move. Helped a little bit by Dave being out of shape. In like car terms, not fat. Dude, my turds have got more fat on them than Dave's got on him. Oh dear. See, Dave the Harp having a pair of skates or a set of skates to weigh himself would be as useful as a glory hole in a glass door.
SGP, can he get it stopped?
He can, but he's not gained the place. Or has he?
Oh,
Demon R's off!
No, it's off.
I don't know if we saw that on the pack cam or not, but I certainly saw it on the main screen. Demon R's had a bit of an off at Glory's. Maybe you heard my joke.
He was looking for the glass door.
Well, interesting. That is why it's called Glory's. Because if good chance you're getting battered by a sausage or getting sucked off.
Oh, Conrad on the gravel.
Oh, sausage! Oh, around he goes. Oh dear, Connor. He's just pitted again. Oh, Connor, that's so unlucky. I mean, I think he was fine with his strategy. You know, he'd have been good to the end. To be fair, he could still be good to the end if he can keep it going. Oh, pal, run wide. He's got off at Glory's. Everybody wants to check out the glass door down there. Demon Hawk, look how far back he is now. That's a good, 4 seconds-ish?
Yeah, he's got some work to do to try and catch up. Steve F1 is we're nearly 8 minutes left of the race.
Yeah, absolutely right. So having another look at Mitch SGP and trying to close in on him again. Twilight sitting in 6th place at the moment. Pretty good considering he doesn't like this track or this car. Gary in 7th, doing quite nice. In 8th place we've got Fluffy. He's ahead of Arpal in 9th place. We may have a look at. Yep, there he is. A bit of a gap from Arpal back to Conrad, but I think... Oh dear, he's off at the final corner. And Dave Harper's just come out of the pits. So yeah, it looks like it could be a bit of a tough one for Connor here. Jason though, who's that he's got behind him?
That's Hay.
Hey, it is Hay. Jason runs a little bit wide there. So Hay is in a lap down situation. He's got the speed. Conrad having a look at Steve F1. So Conrad also in a lap down situation now as well with his off. Massively unfortunate. I'm looking at both. So Hay looks like he's holding on behind Jason for the moment. I mean, we can talk a little bit about nearly about those sort of blue flag situations. For both Hay and Conrad right now, with them being behind cars that are a lap ahead, they can overtake and go past and pull away as long as they do it safely. With Gary and Fluffy side by side.
Oh, they're going to get it stopped. Arpal's there waiting for the pickings.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, Fluffy just brown nosing Gary there. Just rubbed his arse against his nose. Art Pal, you said he's there for the pickings. I don't think you want the pickings from the rear end of that. No, he's not. He's going around the side. Yeah.
Is he going to go around the outside? Is he going to have enough room?
Is he going to be able to keep it on the road? He is.
Yes.
Nice move. Nice driving from the pair of them there. Yeah. Oh, Gary! Another commentator's curse. Okay, so Dave will be good. Thank you for that position. Okay, Artpal's got a bit of a gap to any cars behind him though, so he's safe for the moment. Bunsell, we've not seen Bunsell for ages. I've got to say, I love that livery he's got. SGP and Mitch still close together. No surprise there.
Twilight on his own.
I'm all by myself. Might need a tissue. Say that. What does a tissue wear? Ashoo!
So where's a bogey? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, SGP's closing in on Mitch. Dave the Arp's closing in on Formula Gary. I think the battle for the lead is over at the moment, unfortunately.
9 minutes to go.
Yeah.
A couple, what's that, 3-4 laps?
Yes, something like that. Can't concentrate. I'm watching two battles that are absolutely brilliant at the moment. Mitch and SGP, Dave the Arp and Formula Gary.
Gary's hit the sausage.
Oh, so unlucky. It wasn't a big hit, was it? He just gave it a little tickle. Mitch dipped a wheel, got away with it though. Twilight's going to have to be careful because now Dave the Arp is on the back of him on the pack cam. There's the brake marker board in the middle of the road.
Dave the Harp's not on pitted. Look at the tyre difference.
Yeah, yeah, he went for a gap that was, Twilight into the pits. That's a bit late on pit stop for Twilight. I didn't see what his tyre wear might have been like because that wasn't the camera that showed it. So SGP and Mitch still battling on. Jason has got Rich Blues behind him now, I think. So I think Hay has got past Jason. And we've got Mitch and SGP still going at it. I got
Dave the Harp's behind SGP, so
yeah,
it's quite far back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gap. It's kind of like the straight from Cooper's 2 to Mothers as SGP and Mitch go through. Where's Mitch? He's up the road. Okay. I thought he'd gone off. I got a question for you, right? Do you know your Roman numerals?
Do I know them?
Yeah. So, like, what's 1?
1 stroke.
Yeah, so it's like an I in it. And 5?
V.
10?
X.
What's 0? Oh, pal, making a move on Formula Gary, tried to, can't get it done though, may got a bit wobbly, actually has got it done. Nice driving, yeah, so what's 0?
Don't have a clue.
Well, if you're going to Google it, wait until after the race. For those that are watching and listening, put your answers in the chat now. So I bet you can't get it. Anyway, SGP and Mitch still going at it. Look at their tyres, SGP. Well, you know what? I think their tyres will be okay to the end. There's only, 2.5 more minutes to go. They'll be okay. I'm just trying to see whether... it might not be okay. I'm just trying to have a quick look at where the leaders... I think the leaders are kind of like around a bit of traffic, But I think as well, Steve F1, I think he's comfortable now. I don't think Demon R has been able to pull in that gap. Let's have a look where I think they're just going over the start-finish line now-ish.
I thought Pal was going wider at the Glory Cup.
Before Dave was going deep. Dave is going deep.
Yeah.
So Twilight's having a little bit of a wobble on the pack cam. Dave the Arp under a bit of pressure now from Art Pal as we are coming into the final stages. Steve F1 on the pack cam. Yeah, Demon R has got Hay behind him now. So Hay with his boosters have been able to catch up to the leaders. Looks like he's doing similar to what he was doing when he was behind Jason, just perhaps waiting for the right time. Well, it looks like he might be going for it. No, backs out of it. Who's that? Gary, though, having a look at the back end of Art Pal. Interesting sort of moment there with Hay and Demon R. Something I'll mention after the race. Mention after the race. Okay, so Art Pal still under pressure now from Formula Gary. These guys in a situation to have a potentially brilliant end to the race, Ray, because we're only going to have one more lap. And these guys are currently sitting in 6th, 7th and 8th, which for, I think, Hay making the move now down the main straight, which for, I think, Art Pal and Formula Gary would be a brilliant result.
Yeah.
I thought I heard the horn then.
No, I said yeah, but there might have been something.
It's a child. I heard a child. Mama! Don't know why I
Am I missing a point here or something?
Maybe. No, it's no joke. Anyway, what we got? So Art Pal still ahead of Formula Gary, still behind Dave the Harp. Gary's closing in. Is he going to go for it? He's looking. Art Pal's like as late on the brakes as he dare be. Oh, it's a cracking battle, this. I mean, they might not be side by side at the moment, but they're going to have to be careful because Fluffy is right there. Steve F1, we are on the final lap, and Steve F1 is heading towards the final couple of corners. Just so you know, David Harp and Art Pal still going at it here. I think Mitch is far enough ahead of SGP that he can't get him. Or David Harp a little bit wide. Steve F1 is going to come around the final corner for the final time. He's going to take the first win. No, he's going to do him across the line. But it is victory for Steve F1. Demonar in second place.
Dave the Harp.
Oh, it's in the board. It's in the barrier. Jason
in third place.
Oh, Fluffy's up as well. Oh dear, it's all disaster for a couple at the end. Mitch is going to take that fourth place as he gets just gone through dries. Twilight's on the back of someone. Formula Gary he's not. He's passing Formula Gary. Oh, this is cracking there behind Art Pal, who's on the pack cam. So Mitch is going to finish fourth. SGP fifth. Oh, Twilight's lost it into the barrier.
He slipped it on sausage.
Oh, slippery sausage. You know he don't like it. Dave Yarp, but disaster. He was in sixth until I think he may have clobbered the sausage. Ninth place it'll be for Dave. 10th for Fluffy. Hay finished 11th. I think Rich was, Rich and Bunsen were 12th and 13th. They were also a lap down, I think as well. You know what? Unfortunately, I didn't realise Jimmy DNF'd early-ish on. Can sort of cover that a bit more in the G spot. And Conrad also with a DNF a little later on in the races. Unfortunately, I think Conrad just had a tough race in that one. But I've got to say, that was a cracking race, a good way to start the championship on what is a brutal racetrack.
Yeah, it's brutal, especially with the sausages and gravel or sand, whatever you want to call it.
Especially when you go round Glory Curve and you find that it's Hay or Art Pal behind the door.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hay, I don't know why I said your name. Maybe it's just because you're the oldest of our group. I think. If you're not the oldest, you've had a hard life. I'll say that much.
It's between him and Fluffy, isn't it?
I don't know. It might be. I think Dave's in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. We've got to say though, brilliant race from the start. The leaders having a cracking battle until Demon R made a mistake. Just goes to show around that track, anyone can make a mistake at any point. It's all about what happens after that can dictate how you feel about the rest of the race. Jason, we hardly saw him, but Jason's done what Jason does.
Just drove, didn't he?
Yep, that he did. Drove, kept out of trouble for the most part in this one. Well, all the way through in this one. Probably for him had a very boring race actually. But yeah, good race. Third place. Who was fourth? Mitch. Mitch and SGP had a brilliant battle throughout the race. Both of them unfortunate very early on. I think, was it by the end of lap 2, I think they were both last. Or something like that. Multiple pit stops. Mitch had, to be fair, Mitch had a few spins and managed to finish fourth. It's a good sign of, even if the shit hits the fan, keep going. Because you never know what can happen. Other people may spin more. You just have to be aware that if you do have a spin, it may take a lap or two just to calm things down again. Having said that, at the next track, people are going to have to be careful if they have a crash at the chicane. Because if they do, their tyres, let's put it this way, if you go 150 mile an hour to 0, your tyres will still be doing 150 mile an hour. So they're going to die. And then as you try and pull away, they're going to be overheated, they're going to be worn. It's going to be tricky to continue on round the lap, so you have to be careful. But we'll get on to the next track in a little while. Who else was there? Dave was so unlucky, wasn't he? I mean, he was sitting in 6th place and just clobbered the sausage on the last lap. And I wouldn't be surprised, if in his head he was going around that last lap thinking, right, don't make a mistake, don't hit the sausage. And what does he do? Hit the sausage.
It was in his mind, wasn't it? Sausage!
Sausage. Yeah. I want my sausage. I like mine battered. Oh dear. Pal ended up finishing in 6th place. Gotta say, I mean, good to see him back on the track. Obviously, still recovering a bit with his shoulder. A tough track, not a lot of practice. And I think this is a track where I can imagine a lot of people may think, I don't know if I want to drive this car again. It is very, very different on the rest of the tracks in this championship. This track was chosen for the first race because it was the last race of the last championship. It gives a direct comparison from the Expo going up that level to the F1500. And yeah, it is a bit brutal. But for Art Pal and Formula Gary, they have had fantastic ends to the race. Was it 6th and 7th for the both of them?
Yeah, 6 and 7. 6 for Art Pal, 7 for my Gary.
Yeah. So fantastic results for them. 8th place. Twilight. He's so close to stealing that position off Gary as well, wasn't he? He just got too tight on the final corner. May even have dropped it into first, And if he did,
first part of the race, he was
he was flying,
up at the top. Yeah. May have just lost concentration after his first incident. And
Maybe when he was sort of had a bit of clear road in front of him, it was all right. Maybe when he was in the pack, a bit more awkward around this track. Let's put it this way. After practice on Monday, I don't think he was really looking forward to this race at all. I think after the practice before the race, I think something clicked and he got on with the car and the track a bit more, and suddenly found himself being able to actually race the car and enjoy it a bit more. And he was unlucky at the end. But what I will say is, from what I was hearing, Twilight enjoyed his race. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter if you win or lose or spin or crash or set your car on fire. It's about enjoying it at the end of the day. Which is why I can understand for the likes of Conrad, that would not have been an easy one to enjoy. So I can understand Conrad perhaps getting frustrated in that one. 9th place was Dave the Harp. To be fair, Dave had a very good race. It's just so unlucky at glories a couple of times. But it can happen, so easily happen.
Yeah, and it wasn't just individual people going off, it was like near enough the whole pack, enough went off at one point.
Well, I was going to say that Steve F1 was the only person who didn't go off the track, but he did, right at the start.
They just didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, no, he did. Right at the start, he got 2 wheels on the dirt, lost the lead. That was his one mistake in the race. And to be fair, sometimes you have tracks like a Monaco or a Singapore or some street circuits where the person who wins isn't necessarily the fastest person, it's the person that makes the least mistakes. Now, I'm not saying that Steve F1 wasn't the fastest person on this track on this day, because he did qualify pole and he has won the race, but he is also the one that made the least amount of mistakes, and at the end of the day, that's a winning formula. Who else did we have?
Fluffy.
Fluffy had 0 practice other than about 30 minutes ish, 35 minutes before the race. I would have actually expected him to end up a lap down, in all honesty. That amount of time on the track beforehand, bearing in mind that anyone who's done practice already has hit every sausage, has dipped a wheel in every gravel trap and suffered the consequences and knows how to get around it. Fluffy had none of that. So his first 30 minutes of practice was spinning in the gravel and getting really annoyed. So for him to actually get through that like he did, have some great battles, and get to the end, I think is actually a very, very good positive.
Very good race for him.
Yep. Who was in 11?
Hey.
Okay. Hayes had a tough race because he ended up a lap down, came out of the pits behind Demonar, I think it was, and then spun. And I mean, we mentioned it in commentary. The last thing you want to do when you've just put on fresh tyres is then go and spin. But how he dealt with the blue flag situation or being a lap down, I actually want to commend. I also did mention though I said there was something about when he was with behind Demonar. I don't really want to go into too much here because I want to actually mention it on the G spot. So I want to say that I think Hay handled the lap down situation very, very well, and I want to go into that in a little more detail on the G spot, because I have spotted a couple of things which are not bad, but there's a couple of things that I spotted that I want to just have a look at and be able to show other people so they can understand the situation. But also I think on the G spot it'd be good to talk a little bit more about blue flag situations and what the correct sort of protocol is, just in case anybody is in doubt, because I think Rich Blues was in a blue flag situation at one point, but actually he was okay. He could have just kept going, but he wasn't 100% certain. So it's just to clarify a few things on that, because I think again Rich was somebody that had pretty much zero practice, and again, just to get to the end in this race is commendable. And I think Rich actually had good battles. I think he has had a good race there.
Yeah, we've seen him in a couple of battles mid-pack.
We also had that weird moment.
Oh yeah, with the
on the don't say what it is. Save it.
Start straight.
Yep,
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, that's all. I was just making sure you didn't spoil the surprise.
Then there was somebody we didn't really see, and that was Bunsel. We didn't really see him on cam today.
You know what? We didn't. Again, no, I don't think he had any practice. It was a tough one for him, but I did see Bunsel in a blue flag situation at one point, and I have been told that how he dealt with it was also exemplary. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the most you could ask for, because when someone's in that situation where their race is a bit tough, it would be very easy for them to ignore everything that's around them. So I want to say well done to those guys. And for Bunsel, if it's another race without a penalty, that's a bonus. I've now cursed him. Bunsel, if I was you, I'd just sit out the next race, because I reckon you'll end up getting a race ban. But yeah, good race. I mean, I'm going to say good race. I haven't heard anything bad about Bunsel, and I do really like his livery, and hopefully we'll get it on camera a bit more in the next races. For Conrad, tough one. I mentioned that already. I don't want to keep bashing the nail. I think he was having a brilliant race though early on. He was in that fight for fourth until near the end. And Jimmy had a few technical issues as well, which we will also cover in the G spot. So yeah, anything else you want to say about that race, Ray?
No, it was fantastic, brilliant to watch. Good battles, good sausages, and some glass doors.
Even some good jokes. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's have a look at the next track. I need to get the track map up. So the next circuit, bit of a controversial one, this Ray, which I suppose we should talk a little bit about, in that it is, I'm going to put the image on the screen, Dave, with the track map. That's from me editing, I'll leave it in.
Tokyo South Outer Loop.
Yeah.
With the fuzz.
Yeah. Yeah, with the fuzz, track length 3.23 miles, 12 corners apparently, that might change. Tyre damage indicator green. Now, this tyre damage indicator I do just want to mention because no one will have seen this before today's video. It's not a direct guide. It's more for the viewers which track is going to be a bit harsher on tyres than others. So Laguna Seca was yellow, this Tokyo one's green, and there may be some that are red, which means they're going to be quite severe on tyre wear, potentially. Depends on how the drivers treat them. So it's a bit...
Depends how good the tester was.
Yeah, well, that is true. I mean, it's a bit like... how fast does that car go in a straight? Oh, it only does 120 mile an hour. Okay. Well, which straight did you use? Tsukuba. Okay, well, how fast does it go on Le Mans full length straight? Oh, 250. So, well, it's slightly different, isn't it? But yeah, so the Tokyo Sofo Loop, the fuzz zone. There was a lot of discussion about the fuzz zone at this track. There was also a lot of discussion after the last championship about whether Tokyo should be used in the championship in the future. And the question was asked to all of the drivers. A couple of questions were asked, information about the fuzz zone and information about the track. And the responses were very interesting. I think it was, off the top of my head, it was like 90% positive. The main comments being, or the main negative comments being that the fuzz zone maybe took away an overtaking opportunity in the Expo. It was discussed a lot with the admins and a few things tested with the admins, and this car around this track needs the fuzz zone really. So to try and clarify that, in these cars you do not want to be doing anything other than going single file through those corners. Anything other than that is going to result in a crash. Not might, is. Because if you get on those curbs off the racing line, it ends up in a crash. There's no avoiding it. And the reason for the fuzz is to help teach people to go, you know what, I'm not in the best position here, I will tuck in behind and we'll get through the corner and fight on afterwards. The other thing is that around this track, in the Expo, there weren't many other overtaking opportunities. In this car, there are. And that was tested without boost as well. So with no boost, there are overtaking opportunities around this track. So with boost, there are definitely overtaking opportunities around this track. And I think from the admin's perspective, if I remember rightly, Ray, with the fuzz, it was a case of, yeah, we all felt it definitely needed keeping in for this race with these cars. We will, though, discuss it again after the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that...
I can't remember, I'm just saying, yeah.
Yep. Oh, sounds like his spaceship's landing. That's the washing machine scream I was on about the other day. But yeah, I mean, what I will say is, I mean, a bit negatives about the track there, but actually, this track is very exciting in these cars. It is fast, it is flowing. And, I mean, okay, one upside, if you're going to have a crash here, you're not going to be going far off the track. Downside is, and this is something that drivers are going to have to be aware of, is if you are making contact with a wall, make sure you're not gaining an advantage from it. So if you're making an overtake, make sure you're not tagging a wall and gaining a place or anything like that. So if you're going to late brake it and then tag the wall on the exit of the corner, you might annoy a few people, so just try and make sure it's clean. Anything else you want to mention about Tokyo?
We might have a pit party.
Well,
other than that,
yeah.
then...
Well, you know what? It's a good point, that. The pit entry, or the pit lane, is nowhere near the start-finish line. Bear that in mind, folks. Okay, In a second, we will go on to have a quick look at the confirmed race result and the championship standings. Before I do that, though, you know, in Japan they like their golf.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I don't mind golf either. I used to play it when I was younger, but unfortunately, I got a golf ball lodged up my arse.
Nice.
It's gone up a fairway. I like that one. Okay. Also, you know what? I'm going to put a message out actually. Slightly off topic, but it's still to do with cars. Gary mentioned the other day about a certain car manufacturer has been having issues with this new E10 fuel. And this isn't a joke, by the way. This is serious. And I've noticed my engine was sounding different recently. It wasn't sounding particularly great, if I'm honest, and I'm concerned about it. So the last couple of times I've put fuel in, I've put in super unleaded. Car sounds better. Engine sounds better. Now, it could just be I'm old and my hearing's going, but I think there may be something to it. So what I will say is, for anyone that is using E10, if you have any concerns about how your car may be running or sounding, don't be afraid of spending that extra bit of money and putting the super unleaded in and seeing if it's makes a difference. Or if you've got a brand new car, don't be afraid of taking it back to the manufacturer and saying, look, I don't think my car's sounding right, can you check it, or something along those lines. If it's new, you're under manufacturer warranty, should be. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. And one of the problems is that E10 fuel is a biofuel, and I have no idea what they're putting in it, but yeah, it didn't make my car sound great. But having said that, engineers have designed a car that runs on parsley. How, I don't know. But next, they're hoping that they can make buses that run on time.
Jesus. I think a while.
Right, everything up to engineers have made a car that runs on parsley was true. That last bit, that was the only joke. Right, on that herb shell, shall we take a look at the confirmed race result in the championship standings? Steve F1 then taking the victory in the maximum 20 points. In second place, Stephen R. Third place, Jason. Fourth was Mitch with SGP in fifth. Art Pal finishing in sixth place with formerly Gary in seventh. Twilight in eighth. Dave the Harp in ninth. Fluffy Planet in 10th. Hay in 11th. In 12th is Rich Blues. 13th was Bunsel. And unfortunately, Conrad and Jimmy both DNF'd. With SRI, as I mentioned, unable to race. So, a brilliant first event of the championship in the Formula Icons Cup. Let's take a look at what that's done to the championship standings. Well, with there being no reports and no penalties, it means that the standings is exactly the same as the race result, with no adjustments in points. So yeah, Steve F1 leading the championship after race 1, and race 1 has been an absolute epic start to the championship. Be interesting to see what happens at the next race. Okay, couple of things to bring you, bits of information to bring you. There is going to be a G-Spot, but it's going to be a separate own video. We will put it out on Monday about 6 o'clock. It's not the longest of videos, I don't think, but it doesn't have to be as long as it is informative. What I will say is, me and Ray recorded the G-Spot before we received a couple of messages, which actually turned out to be talking about what we cover in the G-Spot, which is, I think, is quite fascinating. So yeah, make sure you come and check that out on Monday at 6 o'clock. And if you don't know what the G-Spot is, have a look in the book. If you can't find it there, you'll never find it. But in DGT terms, it's where we get to go and talk about weird things that might happen on the track, or perhaps explain things with showing some footage so that drivers understand perhaps why penalties are given or what actually happened in a certain situation, and things like that. A very handy tool, we're hoping it will be. Another thing to just finish off is during the commentary I asked Ray if he knew his Roman numerals, and he said, yeah, of course I do, basically. He knows what 1 is, he knows what 5 is, he knows what 10 is, but when I asked him what 0 was, he didn't have a bloody clue. Did anybody else? Did you put your comment in the chat? If you didn't and you want to do it now, feel free. But actually, if you've put an answer, you're wrong, unless the answer is there isn't one. There is no Roman numeral for 0. Interesting one to ponder. Okay, thank you very much for listening, for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you like what you've seen, and feel free to knock on that notifications bell as well to keep updated when we go live or when we post videos. Also, feel free to check out the Dynamic GT League merch. It is available, and custom items are available as well. Link is in the description. Right, have a good one, everybody. Let's look forward to race 2 from Tokyo. So have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you all again soon.